glad we finally get to chat with each other.
Yes.
Yeah, all the way
Awesome.
from Australia to
Hmm.
Sweden.
Yep.
Yeah. So you're
Beautiful.
looking forward to coming over?
Absolutely. And then, this time with the Night Flight Orchestra, first time for us. I mean, it's wow. I didn't expect this to happen a couple of years back, but here we are.
Yeah,
And
amazing.
we could not be more excited.
Brilliant. Because everyone who's watching this video will know you from Soilwork, right? For
Yeah.
your classic melodic Swedish death metal, which is obviously like the sort of cornerstone of that genre.
Mm.
To now this fantastic, obviously not just now, you've been going since 2007 with Night Flight, but
Yeah. Mm.
this sort of wonderful change of direction that we all love to hear,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's something completely different, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's
Mm.
the wonderful thing about this, though, Bjorn, is that
Mm.
you go from this sort of, as I said, this sort of megalith of death metal to this sort of groove, in this one corner. It's so refreshing to
Mm.
hear a musician be at one with their whole love of music, not just I just do this because this is what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I very much encourage other musicians to venture off and do something completely different. It's been really good for me, and I mean, I brought that with me to back to Soilwork as well. Not saying that Soilwork sounds like Night Flight. It's just like I've become a better singer and a better composer, I would say, in general, and that's something that I brought with me to Soilwork as well. So
yeah,
I can highly recommend this.
yeah. I think you're
If
really
you're going to do
right.
something different, if you're going to do like a little sideshow, I mean, do something completely different. Don't do like a thrash metal project like I did 20 years ago. And here I am. I'm not really keen on bringing that back, even though some people want me to. But I
Yeah,
mean, who knows what's going to happen? But yeah,
yeah. I think that that's absolutely correct, because like me, you love all forms of music. You're just a musician in general. That's your love of music.
yeah,
And I think
yeah,
you're right that to bring the melody into your death metal, you do need that melody in other aspects of your
yeah,
musical life. And I was reading that
mm,
the influences are sort of quite wide and varied. Like a lot of us, like you, like a lot of prog, which is something that
mm,
I deeply love. And I see,
mm,
your Genesis and Yes and all that sort of stuff you
yeah,
bring into
yeah,
this latest album, particularly.
yeah.
Which
No,
is
yeah,
wonderful.
mm, cool. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely in there. It's so many different influences, with this band that it's kind of hard. I mean, some of them are quite obvious. There's a big dose of ABBA in there as well, which kind of separates us from. I mean, let's face it, every band out there is more or less influenced by ABBA in some way, but
Yeah.
I think you can hear it more maybe with us, at least within the AOR genre as well. If we need to put a label on things.
No, you're right, because I mean, I had
Mm,
this conversation years ago with a good friend of mine in a band I was in about ABBA, and we were
mm,
discussing this, and he was saying that if you want to study, the greatest songwriters, study ABBA, and I was like, okay,
yeah,
and I'd go and listen to ABBA, and I say
yeah,
exactly what you're right, absolutely correct.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there's so much there. It's like ABBA is so much more than this happy disco band that some people consider them to be. I mean,
oh
quite
no,
melancholic too. Some of it with the lyrics, and I know that the late great David Anderson, he was very influenced by their lyrics too, and he saw sort of like the dark elements and the melancholic stuff that actually ran through ABBA's lyrics as well, which is and it's sort of dressed in a different sort of uh, way. But then if you dig deeper, it's a whole new world opens there, and the songwriting obviously is fantastic. So
yeah,
there's a lot to be influenced by.
oh yeah, I mean that's the thing, isn't it?
Mm.
Dig deeper. I think a lot of us music consumers, let's say just listeners in the street, we put it on, it moves in the background and you walk away from it. But when you actually
Yeah,
dig deep into it and take your time to look at it and listen to it, you could see how it pervades everywhere,
yeah,
even into the heaviest stuff. It's in there
yeah,
as well. Which
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, which leads me to this question I wanted to ask you, because I love Night Flight, right? And I love Soilwork, and it's there's sort of complete difference, but they're same, but you know what I mean, different. Um,
Yep.
what when you was on the road in 2007, you were thinking, oh, I want to bring some AOR to the world. Like they were discussing this sort of rock and roll that sort of lost like the the Bostons and the Journeys and the, sort of the world. Did you get any real pushback from the hardcore Soilwork fans?
Well, I mean, it started as an idea in 2007. It didn't really become a band until 2009, I would say, when we got together for the first time, because we needed to get like, the right people, and we looked around, and then it happened, and then, it was kind of just a fun project, and then we ended up getting signed and released the first record, and I would say that the first record is slightly more sort of early 70s, which was maybe a bit more predictable considering what was out there at the time. Most bands that, it was not that, uncommon that metal musicians would start like a 70s band sounding like Led Zeppelin and Black Sabbath, but this was still slightly different. If you had tracks like West Ruth Avenue, that was more like disco oriented, and it's still one of our most, biggest songs or whatever, or favorite songs among fans. But I don't know. I guess I expected to get a lot more shit thrown at me for doing this, and especially when things really took off when we signed with Nuclear Blast and we released Amber Galactic. I expected a lot more. I don't know, like, what the hell are you doing? Stop goofing around, go back to Soilwork and do what you're good at. But no, I didn't, and people really appreciate it. And I guess it has to do with that. I would say that the average Soilwork fan that's been with us for a long time, kind of didn't get that surprised, because they could definitely hear in Soilwork's music that there are other influences than, Morbid Angel and I don't know, Slayer, for example. There's a lot more than that, and we love those bands, obviously, but yeah. So I think people who have been with us for a long time and also have seen the, how we evolved as a band, as songwriters and everything. I think maybe that had to do with it, that people were not that shocked, or just like, if they were shocked, it was in a good way, I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I expected a bit more sort of bad response from fans, but it wouldn't have mattered. I would have done it anyway, because it was definitely a calling. And I think that's also because metal fans, I think, can sometimes be quite picky. They can see through you when you're not sincere in what you're doing.
Yes.
And I think that's what they also felt with this band. Like, wow, this is probably something that Bjorn and David really wants to do, and you can feel it. There's presence in the music. It's not like this goofy band who's just like, oh, look at us, we can sound like Foreigner in 1978. It's so much more.
Do you think that I mean, that's brilliant, because that's the one thing that I think would put a lot of other musicians, like you said, go ahead and do it, because there's other musicians who would probably think, I'm in this rut now, I'm doing this, like, and I get the sort of think of in my head like the punks in the 70s. I'm doing this, I can't go off and do reggae. I can't do, I've got to do this groove. And it takes a bit of balls, Bjorn. It takes some,
I guess it does. I mean, I didn't even think about it, and I've heard that before. Say, oh, you're brave doing this. Like, oh, am I? Maybe I am. I don't know, but it was just.
But you get love out. You love it, right? And that's the key.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yes, absolutely. So it's. It's cool to hear when people do different things. And I mean, we have like Nurgle, he's doing Me and That Man. I mean, that's quite like dark stuff still, but it's something very different, and so it's good to see, and I guess some people are really, I guess, a bit scared of destroying their own image. I guess that's what it is as well, that people, they're so used to being that person that if they venture off doing something completely different, they're scared of the reaction, but they shouldn't be, I think, as long as it's sincere,
I think you're right. I mean, people do get scared. I mean, when it comes to things like money and stuff, they get worried, and I'm sure they do, right?
Yeah.
But do you find that you've got Night Flight Orchestra fans that have come to you and then to Soilwork, and vice versa?
Absolutely. Yes, it's happening a lot more now, that people come up to say, oh, I just recently found out you have a metal band. It's like, okay, yeah, which is awesome. That's really cool. We actually attract fans from different genres discovering metal through Soilwork, I guess. That's a beautiful thing. And Arch Enemy, of course, as well.
I was going to say, because I'm just going to come to that, you've got a fantastic band around you. Okay, apart from the sad loss you had, obviously, but you've got, I mean, some big names that have come and joined you. And
Hmm.
how did you approach them? Did you go to them and say, look, hey, I'm doing this, or did they hear it and they come to you and say, I want to do this with you? Or how did that work?
No, I mean it was me and David who sort of created the band, and then we started thinking like, who do we know that sort of gets what, get what we're doing here,
Yeah.
who has the knowledge and sort of and I mean, for example, Charlie D'Angelo, he came up like right away because we gotten to know him quite well, and we always discussed music, and we knew that he's not even allowed to to join like different music quizzes all over Gothenburg because he's too good, So he's like, okay, there's the door, get out.
He's one of those ones, right?
So, yeah, he knows everything about music. Not saying that just because you know everything about music, necessarily means that you're a good player or a good songwriter or whatever. But we knew he was good as well, and we felt that he could play a mean disco bass as well. We knew that was in there. So yeah.
As a bass player,
Unfortunately, yeah. Unfortunately, Charlie is out with Arch Enemy when we go to Australia, so we have Mats Rydström instead on bass.
Yeah.
He's playing with Avatarium, an absolutely mean bass player as well. Fantastic.
Brilliant.
Yeah, but yeah, wish Charlie was with us as well, but next time for sure. But we're planting a seed now, and then we'll hopefully return.
Well, they were only over recently, Arch Enemy, I think, anyway, weren't they?
Yeah.
Here only recently, so
yeah.
I didn't get a chance, unfortunately. Too many work commitments.
Oh yeah.
I didn't get to see them.
Damn it.
So whereabouts in Australia are you playing? What are the dates that you have? Can you remember?
Ooh, let's see here. Is it the 3rd is Brisbane, 4th Sydney, 5th Melbourne?
Brilliant.
I hope I'm right now. Yeah.
Good friends of mine are going to see you in Sydney. They're very looking forward to it. He's already bought himself a nice bright Hawaiian shirt. He can't wait to get this.
Oh, amazing. Some white jeans as well, or
yes, that's it.
Yeah.
So have you like coming? Have you obviously toured to Australia with Soilwork, and you enjoy it over here?
Yeah, absolutely. There's something special about it. I don't know. It's like magical somehow. I always feel at peace when I'm in. And I mean, getting to Australia is no fun, but once you're there, I feel very relaxed and at peace, and I like being around people there. It's just a great vibe, and
I think it's
a beautiful country in many ways.
Oh yeah, I think it's good. It's so far away from everyone. It just feels nice and
remote. Yeah. No, I mean, maybe it's that. I don't know. Yeah. It's but at the same time, it's like, wow, I'm so far away from home. It should make me a little bit, I don't know, like feel weird, but it's quite the opposite. I feel very at home somehow.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we've been there 10 times now with Soilwork, so it's yeah.
I've seen you a couple of times. The audiences love you here, right? They love you here. Yeah. Australians know their metal. They really do, and they're rock and roll, man. With Night Flight, man. And I mean, I'm sure you've sold truckloads of tickets, and if you haven't, sell more, please. Buy more tickets. That's what I'm going to say right now.
Yeah, there you go. It's going to be one hell of a dance party, for sure.
Again, that's also what I find deeply fascinating about your. I don't want to say side project because they're both equally as each other. Your other band, I just find the immense sense of rhythm and funk that Swedish people have. Right, there's just this innate sense of fun in their music. Even the darkest music has a funness to it in some respects, right? And it just fascinates me. When I saw you, you're like. It just mesmerizes me. It's like, this is the guy from Soilwork, like heavy, and then I'm over here, and then I'm doing some nice AOR with disco beats. Just mind.
It's a Jekyll and Hyde right there. It's but it's really cool that I'm able to do it and switch between both so easily. Actually, it's. I mean, we've even done festivals together with both bands with just half an hour in between.
Wow. Well, yeah, so that's a hard work.
And I didn't think it was going to work out, but it actually did. But I don't know if it's something that I would like to continue doing too much. But every now and then, I guess it's okay. But
as long as you can keep your voice going. I mean,
voice was fine. That's what sort of surprised me, and it was almost like, wow. So maybe that was a warm up. Maybe I should, start warming up longer. It's like I was like, aha.
Do you find touring with Night Flight different in such respect with Soilworks that you have more to bring with Soilwork than you do with Night Flight? Like, is it more pared down stage and like crew? Like is it a smaller entourage for Night Flight?
Yeah, I mean the budget is not as big yet, but I mean there's so many things that you would like to do and bring a like I don't know 747 on a stage, whatever There's so many things you can do, obviously, but yeah, exactly. But I mean we're 8 people in the band, 2 backup singers, and so our crew is sort of the same. We need a fairly big crew, but it's sort of what we have with Soilwork. Otherwise, it would probably be a disaster. So it's not easy, traveling around with this much people, and financially, it's not so easy at times. But we love it so much, and hopefully, we'll get to a point where we can develop our stage show even more, and we'll see. Because I mean, there are no limits to what you can do with this concept, for sure.
No, exactly right. And because I was thinking, I mean, and that's another thing, isn't it? The trouble with, I mean, I've lived in Australia for 25 years now. When I was in the UK, man, I could see a band every night, whatever I want. In London, something's playing, right? I'm sure that's the same in Stockholm and in all those areas, right? But you come to Australia and we're so starved. Like, we have our own wonderful local, fantastic scene. But when bands like Night Flight come out, it's like, oh my God, you're going to get to Night Flight, because you don't expect to see them. And I think that's why the fans here are so loving towards the bands, because it is just like, oh my God, Night Flight, I'm going to go.
Yeah, and I think because there's been a lot of people poking me the latest times we've been there with Soilwork. It's like, oh, when are you bringing Night Flight? When are you bringing Night Flight? It's like, wow, people really seem to like it here, and gradually more and more people bringing Night Flight vinyls to the Soilwork shows and meet and greets and signing sessions. It's like, okay, there's definitely something brewing here. And then I started poking a dog of Hardline Media. It's like, okay, I think it might be time.
So it might be time.
Yeah, it might be time. And yeah, here we are. It's amazing.
Are you playing?
It's looking like.
Yeah. Are you playing cities that you haven't played before? So, you've played all these cities before? Like, you've played Brisbane before, haven't you?
Yeah. We usually do Adelaide and Perth as well, but I think it was like this the first time we hit Australia with Soilwork. We only did the East Coast, and then the next time we came back, we also did Adelaide and Perth. So hopefully that's going to be the case with Night Flight as well.
It's such a long way. The trouble is, I mean, the continent is so vast. Getting from one side to the other, it's bad enough getting from Sweden to here, and then you've got another 12 hours over to Perth or something. Like, well, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's like, I suppose, if you've toured the States a fair bit, haven't you? So you sort of get
we've been there a bunch of times.
Crossing the continent there, it's the same kind of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. And are you going to be dipping into all of your albums for this one, or is it just going to be all? I
think just about every album is represented in the set list. But I mean, I guess we're playing more material from the latest 3-4 albums, I guess I would say.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, but it's a killer set list. People are gonna love it.
Anything of internal affairs will do me. Like, I'm happy. There you go.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah,
but it must be interesting. You look out. You've got the gig. You're looking out into the sea of fans, and there they are wearing. There's a mix of Soilwork and Night Flight t-shirts. Like, it must feel good.
Yeah. I know, but it definitely has a unifying factor, this band. It's bringing a lot of people that normally wouldn't go to the same show. That's what happens there. You see, people wearing black metal patches, and then you see prog dads, and then you see, like we did the European tour. It's like you saw a lot of like teenage girls knowing every word. It's like, what?
Wow!
Holy hell! And so it's a big mix of different people, and that's really, really cool. I think, and by the end of the night, everyone's dancing. So
isn't that the best thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's conga trains and everything, and it's such a crescendo every
I can just imagine big glasses of colorful cocktails and disco balls and funky 70s suits. I can just see it.
Yeah. No, I mean, just being able to go on a stage with a glittery suit and a cape and a beret. I mean, that's
Brilliant.
Come on,
You're brilliant.
I love it.
That's
And it's a
Swedish
big part
heritage.
of me. And it's like, you know, I mean, of course there's gimmicks and you know, there's this whole concept and there's tongue in cheek, but we're also 100% serious about this. There's so much love and passion for what we do, you know.
Oh no, and it
It's
comes across that way.
so
It
there's
comes
that
across that way.
balance, you know, because we don't want to become a goofy nostalgia act. We're so much more than that, you know.
I don't ever I wouldn't put you
Mm.
in that goofy nostalgia act thing at all
Yeah.
by any means. I mean,
Yeah.
I think you have a reverence for the history of the music you love,
Right.
and it comes
Right.
across that way. It doesn't come across as
Yeah.
goofy at all.
And it's a show. We want it to
Yeah.
be a show, you
Of
know,
course, people
like the
pay
whole
money.
package.
It's a show, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, after all, you are a showman. That's what you do.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, a musician and showman. That's it, right? Got to
Yeah.
give the audience what they want, right?
Yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm so pumped for you. It's going to be a brilliant tour for you, and hopefully it will just bring more and more people to your fantastic.
Yeah, I hope so too. I
Yeah.
hope so too. So hope I'll see everyone coming out to these shows. They're gonna be beautiful.
Yeah, you'll see us there. We'll be
Yeah.
congoing with you.
Yeah.
All right.
Fantastic. Great.
Nice taking to you, Bjorn. I hope you have a safe trip here, and
Thank you.
and enjoy your time in our lovely continent.
Thank you so much, and thanks for having me on the show.
Pleasure.